We artisans have low status in the social pyramid.
May you come to our workshop.
Oh.
So some responsibilities we had as artisans was to make sculptures and paint them.
Artisans made very impressive statues and sculptures, and they used tools as a hammer and a chisel and a wooden spoon to carve.
Would anyone, Vinay, come up here?
No.
Put that piece of bread away.
Oh, that was good bread from the peasants, that's for sure.
And then would you like to use this hammer and put it on the table and on the table?
Bang the tail.
Okay, let's see,
You
carve.
hit the hammer.
Ooh, hard. Don't go too hard, okay?
Don't break the table.
Okay.
What do you want to go carve?
Carve.
Okay, let's see.
Use the wall as the
And what would I find?
they would just make sculptures and
I would make
designs.
create sculptures.
Yes. And for leisure time, they would make these type of necklaces, and they're made out of rocks, shells, and little beetles, and I will be passing them around for an example.
Okay, try it on. Come on, you can try it on.
Did you say beetles
Well,
or beads?
beads.
Oh.
Okay, if it's beetles, then like.
Food the artisans eat were roasted meats and carrots.
That's a good dinner. That's a good dinner. It's similar to what we have so far in America.
The living conditions they had were one kitchen, one living room, and 2 bedrooms. They couldn't afford a bigger house because they have very little money and low status.
So where were they in the overall hierarchy in Egypt? Where were they in the overall hierarchy?
Meaning social pyramid.
Then the bottom.
So they're at the very bottom.
Second to last.
So who's lower than them?
Peasants. The peasants were.
How are they different than the peasants?
Because they garden, they plant food, they build temples, and that's it.
So I get that that's a different job, but like how is that different than what the peasants did?
The artisans would craft, and they would be planting carrots and vegetables, which is different.
So do they have a different level of skill? Is that the difference between a peasant and an artisan? Thank you.
Okay. Any questions, anyone? From you guys?
Why is it important to build sculptures? Because they would impress other people, and they would be showing them in museums.
And how they work. How like how their work. Yeah, their work. How they would show their work.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any other questions?
Renee, do you have any questions? Any questions? Okay. Do you guys any have questions?
So male and female, were they both artisans?
Well, mostly the male would do most of the crafting, and the women's mostly stay home and do other things. So it's mostly guys doing the crafting.
And I have another question. So how did you become artisans?
We were chosen. And, we got to pick.
What do you mean you got to
which
pick?
group we wanted to be.
No, not you, like this group, but how did you become an artist?
Like in ancient Egypt.
much in Egypt, could you just say I want to be a
Scribe.
pharaoh or I want to be an artisan?
No, the pharaoh would pick. The pharaoh would pick what you would be, what
What job?
what job you're gonna do.
So the pharaoh picked for everyone.
Yes.
Was it part of your status, like how your status was?
Yes.
So if I was born into a family in which my parents were artisans,
You would be.
does that mean that I'm going to be an artisan, or I might be a peasant?
You'd be
Or
an artisan because you're part of their family, and the pharaoh would pick your family already for an artisan.
Okay.
Questions?
Is that all we got?
You guys still presenting?
Yeah.
We're finished.
Okay, you finished? Yeah.
Wait, what's that word that say at the end?
Synapti.
Okay.
All right, Alan, going for the up close and personal, huh?